Good evening. Good evening. My name is Joyce Butler of the People's Power Assembly. I would like to open up tonight's town hall, the Maryland Unemployment Benefit Crisis, on behalf of the Unemployed Workers Union by recognizing and saluting the indigenous people whose land we stand on, the Nanticoke, Piscataway, Osagees, Pocomoke, and Susquehannocks Native American nations. I will now turn this meeting over to our facilitator, Sharon Black.
Good evening, everybody. We're going to show you a very brief slideshow so that I speak very little. And then we're going to get into the program and I'm going to give people sort of the guidelines for tonight. Let me see. Okay. People asked me to talk through the slideshow. I figured people could read it, but that's okay. Hogan, do the right thing. Stop July 3rd cutoff for federal pandemic benefits. Pay unemployed workers benefits they are owed now. Hogan is giving back 1.5 billion in additional federal stimulus money that could be spent on rent, mortgages, and food by Maryland's unemployed workers. How does that help business? The unemployed are not lazy frauds. We are your family, neighbors, and friends who have been displaced and hit the hardest by the pandemic. Our loved ones have died, and yes, some of us have contracted COVID. How can a 55-year-old grandmother in Baltimore commute to Ocean City to take a seasonal waitress job? Come on, Hogan. Governor Hogan and Secretary Robinson, unemployed workers receive no notice of changes. Can you live on zero while you look for a non-existent job? Can you find a job in 3 weeks? Insult to injury. Thousands of Marylanders haven't seen a dime for a year. Baltimore City's unemployment rate is 7.6%. Prince George's County is 8%. The state rate before the pandemic was 3.5%. That's not recovery. The Maryland Department of Labor is violating the civil rights of thousands of unemployed workers whose benefits have been held up. Time to pay up. What does the Unemployed Workers Union say? We have condemned Maryland Governor Hogan's decision to curtail federal pandemic benefits early, giving the unemployed just 1 month's notice. Now we must take action. Looking beyond the false rhetoric that benefits are keeping people from taking jobs are the facts. The job figures tell a different story. The national unemployment rate inched up to 6.1%. Maryland's is slightly higher at 6.2%. Baltimore City, 7.6%. And as we said already, Prince George's County, 8%. Before the pandemic, unemployment was 3.5%. What's behind this kind of propaganda? The motive of removing the meager federal safety net, which costs the state nothing, is to create an ever larger and desperate group of unemployed that will push wages and benefits down for all workers. It is the responsibility of the government to protect and defend all of its people. This includes planning for decent paying jobs, dignity, and economic stability for everyone. We demand continue the federal pandemic insurance and pay the thousands of Marylanders who are in the Department of Labor's unemployment limbo. The Maryland Unemployed Workers Union is formed to help fight for our rights. Together and united, we can win. We want jobs or income now. We want a halt to evictions, foreclosures, and repossessions for all unemployed workers. Every Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., we hold a clinic for workers to file formal grievances and appeals at 2011 North Charles Street, Baltimore, Maryland 21218. A pro bono attorney and assistants are present to fill out grievances and execute letters to the Labor Secretary and Governor. Text us at 410-218-4835 for more information, and we'll also put that in the chat. And last but not least, most important, there's a statewide protest on Saturday, January 19th at Governor Hogan's mansion. Become an organizer. You can text the same number, 410-218-4835, or go to the unemployedworkersunion.org. Thank you. Okay, and we are about to start. Bear with us on. I'm going to get it. Okay, we're back to gallery view. Great. So basically, we had so many requests for people who wanted to speak at this, town hall meeting, that it became more and more difficult. We had originally panelists who we had known and vetted and been involved from the very beginning. And some of them have also pulled out because of this reason. We want to let every single person speak tonight, including the delegates, including the press, to ask questions, and also some of the people who have registered, which we will be able to light up your mic, we'll be able to light up your video, and you'll be able to come and testify and talk about things. The most important thing that you should know is that this is being streamed live so that everybody can have a face to what's going on in Maryland in terms of the unemployment crisis, and that it will go out again to the press, and we'll be able to record every word that everybody says. So we want people to be patient. And while we had a number of prepared, not prepared, I would say prepared, they're speaking from the heart, but I mean panelists who agreed initially to speak, we will then open everything up to the floor and allow delegates, as I said, press, and other people who are also unemployed to speak. And we're simply asking people to keep to 3 minutes. It's very important so that we can all listen to each other. And we will not end this town hall until every person who wants to say something says something. And last but not least, before we actually hear some of the panelists, I wanted to make sure that we brought on two people who've been working very hard on this effort. The first person is Alex Summerfield, who is our pro bono attorney. He has some important announcements. And Andrew Mayton, who is also one of the representatives who talks of the workers who work for the Labor Department, who have a different story to tell than Secretary Robinson. And so he can shed a tiny bit of light, as much as he can in his capacity, about what is also some of the what we consider basically civil rights violations that are going on inside. So I'm going to ask Alec to unmute himself and call on Alec. And then right after Alec, I'd like to call on Andrew to talk about the point of view of the workers there. And then our very first panelists, who are not on this panel, but you'll see them, is Ms. Harp and Leonard Harp, who are with us here, will speak on the same computer. So go ahead, Alec.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alex Summerfield, as Sharon said, and sorry about that. Pro bono attorney with the Unemployed Workers Union here, Baltimore, Maryland, and throughout the state of Maryland. So I have two quick announcements. First, I want to say that I want to highly encourage people to come to the clinic here at 2011 North Charles Street, and we're also going to set up a Zoom call from 6 to 8 every Thursday, so people who aren't in Baltimore can call in and we can fill out grievances, file appeals, keep the fight going, get this in the press, and raise our voices to let the Maryland elected officials know this is unacceptable. I mean, to hear the stories recently, it's really been just harrowing to hear about. Many people have not gotten any unemployment. They've been, just dragged through the mud. It's been very difficult. And because of that, we're going to be engaging in a legal action. And what I just want to say briefly is, you look at me, I don't look like your typical attorney, and it's really because I'm not. I'm not out here trying to make a buck I'm out here to fight in solidarity with the community. That's why we're all out here. I will not take any money. I am 100% pro bono, but I'm a barred attorney here in the state of Maryland, and we are going to file a class action lawsuit demanding that the governor be enjoined by the Circuit Court of Maryland, by a Circuit Court of Maryland, probably here in Baltimore, from cutting off the federal unemployment benefits, $300 a week in July. So if you want to be involved in that class action lawsuit, come to the Thursday clinics. That's the best way. Meet in person. We can go over the whole process, get your information. Now, to file the class action, just very briefly, we just need a group of plaintiffs, people who want to sign on their names. It'll all be in court documents, so that'll be good. And just, sign on your name. It doesn't take a lot of commitment from you. We'll be doing the work. And we'll want to hear your stories and everything, get the facts from you. But, and what we will do is we'll have lots of people hopefully sign on, but it'll be on behalf of the entire class, which is people, unemployed workers in Maryland, who are going to be losing their benefits. So we're going to file that class action, hopefully here in the next 2 weeks. So please, next week, Thursday, 6 to 8, come meet with us, get your name on the class action lawsuit, and we will be moving forward to stop the suspension of much needed unemployment benefits by Governor Hogan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Attorney Summerfield. Andrew, I'm going to go next.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Andrew Mayton. I am a union representative. I work for the union that represents the workers that are in the unemployment insurance division, the appeals division, everybody involved with the unemployment process. The stories that I hear from the workers are so much different than what Secretary Robinson has said, what Governor Hogan has said. So I'm here to shed light on what's actually happening behind the scenes. This, of course, is only part of the story. And I'm going to read a statement submitted by one of the workers from the inside, and you'll understand why I have to represent and carry the message. The following statement was submitted by an employee in the Maryland Department of Labor who works directly with the unemployment process. This employee stated that the workers in the Maryland Department of Labor are unwaveringly with the people. They're fully aware of what a dire crisis this is and understand completely that unemployment claimants need their benefits, and we want you to receive your benefits. The main obstacle in our path is the Maryland Department of Labor's higher administration, who in 2019 implemented what is called the Beacon system. This is the system through which unemployed workers submit their claims for unemployment payments. I'm sure many of you are familiar with how frustrating it can be to submit your claim and certify your job search every week. That's the Beacon system. And if that's not frustrating enough, this system has prevented us from doing our jobs in a timely fashion. It now takes workers in the unemployment insurance division and in the appeals division anywhere between hours to days to months to complete tasks that used to take between 15 and 30 minutes. We raise our concerns numerous times about how dysfunctional the system is, but the administration will not hear us. Additionally, when there are technical problems in Beacon, we have to submit these problems to a contractor overseas. We never know how long it's going to take to get the problem fixed, and the case is delayed as long as there's a problem. And now I felt that I had to submit this statement anonymously because all the Department of Labor employees, not just myself, are regularly intimidated on the job and are afraid to speak out because we're afraid to lose our jobs. The administration is responsible for all unprocessed and unadjudicated unemployment claims in Maryland. They need to fix it now. And they must get rid of this Beacon system and implement a new system that is developed by the workers so that a crisis of this proportion never happens again. Thank you very much.
Okay. Our next two speakers were actually Mrs. Leonard Harp is going to speak next. And let me see if we can get you. You were actually on that screen, only your label is Alex. So let me try to relate you. Ms. Harp, I believe people can hear you.
Right, thank you. Hello, my name is Maud Harp, and I'm from Baltimore City. and I'm here on behalf of my husband, Leonard Hart. My husband applied for unemployment benefits over 8 months ago and have not received any benefits at all. When he first applied, he was told that he was eligible for benefits and that he would receive a debit card. The debit card came, he tried to activate the card. Bank of America told him that the card was frozen and he needed to contact unemployment. We made numerous calls to unemployment to find out what was going on. Unemployment finally told us that he needed to prove his identity. So we had to get a new birth certificate, social security card, and driver's license. We uploaded these documents to the Beacon system. And now all it's saying over and over again, you need to upload documents. So then we did a live chat online and they told us do not upload any more documents after the Beacon system told us to upload more documents. So with that being said, we had to pawn jewelry in order to pay our bills because we were so behind waiting for the unemployment to come. My husband is 56 years old, never been sick a day in his life. On May 22nd, my husband had a heart attack and he was in ICU for 3 days. My husband now has a stent in his heart and he's going to be on medication for the rest of his life due to the stress that's been put on him from
from this. Yeah.
Okay. It's just not right that the stuff that people have to go through. Governor Hogan, we American, we have citizens, we pay our taxes, we pay into the unemployment system, and when we need the money, it's not there. It's not fair. It's our money. We're not asking for a handout. We're asking for what is ours. That money belongs to the people who work for it, and we should be able to get our money, and we shouldn't have to beg. We shouldn't have to wait 8, 9, 10 months to get unemployment money. It's not right. And Governor Hogan, the Beacon system does not work. We have told you it hasn't worked over and over again. Get rid of the Beacon system and give people their unemployment money because we need our money and we need our money now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, I'm going to get you the phone. There you go.
Okay.
Next, and I ask people if you can, when you go to speak, if you're able to say, what part of the state you're from, or what city.
Okay. All right. I'm Mrs. Johnson, and we're from the city of Baltimore. I'm speaking on behalf of my husband, Kedrick Johnson. My husband, Kedrick Johnson, his last day he worked was March 16th of 2020. We applied for unemployment. He was where he was a longshoreman. We applied for unemployment. They told us that he voluntarily left his job. He did not voluntarily leave his job. He left due to medical conditions. His doctor said he must leave. It's been over since March 20 last year. We have not received a dime. We constantly filled out every week, and every week they told us that he was voluntarily left his job. Finally, we had to download documents proving that from the doctor and his employer that he did not voluntarily leave. The Beacon system took the documents but said they didn't get them. We uploaded them at least 15 times. We haven't heard anything. During that time when we were out, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So our benefits were cut in half. So we had to pay more for deductibles while we were out. We have signed everything. Now they have wiped his record completely clean off the Beacon system as if he never ever applied. They told us twice we were going to have a phone call and someone would get back to us. We've never gotten the phone call. And this is over a year. We have not received one dime. He went back to work, forced back to work because we weren't getting any income. We had to use all of our savings. And he was forced back to work September of last year. And he went back because of the fact of no unemployment. So he had to go back, even though he was not well, he had to return because of no unemployment. And we still haven't heard anything. And he returned to the same job. They claimed that he voluntarily left. So you couldn't return if you voluntarily quit a job. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson.
Thank you.
I'd like to call on, going a little bit back and forth, Rasa Guru Patharana.
Did I do okay?
You could unmute yourself and you show your video. That's possible. Here you go.
Can I go
Hi,
ahead?
everybody.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Okay, so my name is Rasika. I lost my job um, right when it was time to lock down in March, and I filed unemployment. I hasn't gotten it for like months and months and months, and for several months I started getting my unemployment. Then all of a sudden in December came around to recertificate. They put my case on hold and never touched it. So, um, so I think at the first press conference that PPA held, I spoke out, and immediately after they called me back just to decline my case, and they bill all the money that they paid me to pay back. Pretty much they put me under fraud, which does not make any sense. Also, they have not given me any opportunity to go over my applications. Like there was no process in between. They just denied my case and billed me back, and there's nothing else, no reason given to the day. So I just want to say this is a violation of basic human rights, and I'm hearing everybody's stories like that. It just, we deserve our money. I haven't been able to find work, and my car payments are behind, my insurance is behind, and we need a help now. Thank you.
Thank you, Rasika. Mr. Josh, would you like to go next?
Yes. Yeah, my name is Josh. If anybody wants to know my name, Sharon Glass would be happy to give it to you. I filed for unemployment back in April, and I was issued this debit card, which has never left my house. In February of 2021, I found out that my debit card was hacked. And this debit card is issued by Bank of America, who is contracted with State of Maryland Department of Labor, Division of Unemployment. And when I contacted Bank of America, debit card, the number in the back of this card, they verified my information, and I told them what's going on. I asked them, and they said that, sir, you've been hacked. And I said, I don't understand what's going on. And they told me that at the time of hack, I had almost $11,000 on my debit card. And they advised me to contact State of Maryland regarding this issue, which I did. And I was in email communication with one of the agents that works for the Department of Labor Unemployment Division. And it was a very unprofessional communication on their part. I did not know who I was talking with. They did not leave their name, phone number, office, or anything. And I have this email in my record. And they said that you contact Bank of America because they issued you this debit card, which I did. And they again tell me that we cannot give you any further information. You have to contact the State of Maryland. Now, this has gone back and forth since February, and this issue has not been resolved yet. Another issue number two I have is that my unemployment payment has been on hold since November of 2020. And somebody called me last week, and it seems that this issue is beginning to be resolved, but I have not seen any money regarding this unemployment. So not only this debit card is hacked, I don't know how it was hacked. Nobody will tell me anything. Now, how is that possible? This is a debit card right here, Bank of America. So that's all I have to say for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Josh. Toya Parker, can you turn your mic on and your video off? Ms. Parker?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, let me get in some light. Hi, I'm actually live in Virginia, but I work in Maryland and Montgomery County. Um, and my issue that I've been having with unemployment is that I lost my job back in the end of December. Um, and it took a moment for me to even hear back from unemployment. I didn't hear all of until April. That's when I finally was able to get through to the phone lines. And I just kept calling until I finally got somebody. Every time that I called, I just kept getting the runaround. Everybody was giving me different answers as to why I hadn't heard back in regards to why I haven't received any unemployment. I did eventually get one person that actually was able to get me to someone um, that was able to push my claim through. He pushed it through and was able to get me 2 weeks of payments sent out to me. But as soon as those 2 payments were sent out, my account went back on hold into adjudication. And it's been in adjudication ever since April. And I'm not getting any answers. I'm told that I need to send proof of identification. They need more information for my job. That I need to fill out a questionnaire or I need to do an interview. Every time that I call is something different and nobody's able to verify what the previous person that I spoke to is saying. And at this point, the frustration and everything, I'm working now, but I still haven't been paid from December up until the beginning of May when I was not working. And I just, it's been frustrating just trying to get answers or just trying to get the money that they're saying that I was approved for, but haven't sent to me.
Thank you, Ms. Parker. Stephen Cece, could you unmute yourself? Calling you next.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephen Cece. I live in Baltimore City. My situation, I was a bartender at the Westin Hotel BWI in Anne Arundel County. And soon as COVID hit, the whole place was shut down. Of course, business stopped, and we were all laid off. And my employer sent me a letter stating that because of COVID, they had no idea if they were ever going to call me back, when it was going to be over. Basically, consider myself permanently laid off. I applied for unemployment, and truth be told, or whatever, during the last year in late spring, I was getting unemployment. Everything was okay. And then had issues back in November. Soon as I guess the first round of the CARES Act end, my unemployment was cut off, and for about a month. Then second CARES Act, and then suddenly they activated it, and I started getting payments again for about a month. But then it stopped again. For 8 weeks, I didn't receive any benefits. They told me, they sent a letter saying that I need proof of income letter, proof of employment letter. And I thought that was strange. Like, nothing has changed in regards to my employment status of where I worked at. None of us have been called back. As everyone knows, in hospitality, things have shut down. And even though they're opening things back up, it's not like everything has come back to pre-pandemic levels. So, for example, I think it's disingenuous when they show news segments where they say, oh, hotel is hiring 12 employees, they're hiring people back or whatever. Well, yeah, they may be hiring some people back, but they're not hiring anybody from catering. Nobody's having weddings. Nobody is having corporate conferences. So this notion that everyone who's looking for work can find work is false. I haven't been able to find any job in my field, and yes, I consider my profession a professional. I'm a bartender, and I consider that's my profession, and that's what I'm looking to go back to work at. Um, anyway, when I complained at the press conference, the very first press conference, that 8 weeks went by that I didn't get my unemployment, lo and behold, Department of Labor, someone called me and said, "Oh, your case has been adjudicated, and we are going to retroactivate and pay you back or whatever." And I truly believe that's only because I made a fuss and made them an embarrassment on TV. Because prior to that, I called and called for hours and hours and hours. Finally, I got somebody on the telephone, and she told me, "Well, we have to verify your employment at Amazon." And I was like, "Amazon? I hadn't worked in Amazon for 2 years. That was not my last employer. Why are you looking at my employment from a couple years ago?" And I guess once I complained publicly, they realized that they couldn't disqualify me because I no longer worked at Amazon. I quit because the job was hazardous and I didn't feel safe there or whatever. But I got it. Like I said, I was still working at the hotel, and so that was my last employment. I'm saying all this because it just seems like you read the comments from the chat or whatever, and everyone's story is different, but it's similar. It's similar in the sense that I don't know what the Department of Labor is doing. It seems like they have no clue. Sometimes I wonder, are they just being malicious, or they just are totally negligent and not capable of handling the situation or whatever. Instead of admitting that they screwed up, I saw the hearing that they had, and it was disgraceful because it was a cheering. It was a hearing where they were just cheering each other and acting like what a great job they've done, and that they need to get rid of unemployment because there's so many jobs and people are sitting home and don't want to work and collect unemployment. I mean, I think that is, an affront and is disgusting to all of us who worked years and years. I mean, I'm 52 years old, but it breaks my heart to hear my elders and my fellow neighbors or whatever who worked their whole entire life be told that they are sitting home and that they are scamming the system. And Roscoe didn't mention or whatever, but they put him on fraud or whatever. When they gave him his benefits, then they said that he defrauded them, but he never told them why he was so-called defraud. And we found out or whatever that basically they just put you in a category of fraud to basically deny people benefits. So there are like tens of thousands of people who are claimed to be fraudulent claims. And I'm not talking about the professional scammers. I'm talking about everyday people who deserve unemployment that they just are saying being fraudulent because the Department of Labor said 1/3 of claims are fraudulent. And if there's 1/3 fraudulent claims, then they all need to be fired because that is not us as tax-paying citizens. That's not our fault. Something is not right. The governor, he must have no heart or whatever. That's all I have to say. I mean, I could say more. Right now, the system is crashed. They made everyone who was getting benefits right now reapply and gave us no notice. And so even our little 3 weeks or 4 weeks that when the governor had cut off or whatever and said that he was going to extend till September, basically, I don't even know if he was being genuine about that because everyone who's collecting or whatever, a lot of us have been told we have to reapply. And so they just need to do the right thing. They just need to pay people back. All the back claims, they need to continue paying people what is owed. That money, it's 1 billion dollars or whatever that goes back into the economy. You're gonna have people lose their houses. It's only by the grace of God that I live with somebody who's a relative, but it affects them because they can't afford their mortgage if I can't pay my rent. So that's all. Just pay us our money. That's all we're asking for. It's owed to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. We have two more people on the list, and I want to say that some of the people that were on the panel either are going to send their testimony or what they had to say in chat. We're still, we have about well over 100 people waiting, so we're asking people, please keep it short. And I'd like to call on Regina Harrington. Regina. Teo, did you want to say anything? Did you want to open up your mic? Okay, did anybody hear me? Okay, Miss Regina Harrington? Hello? Okay, Ko? Am I muted? No. Nope. Okay, people may not have heard. We're going to go ahead. We're going to go,
Do you
okay.
mean KB?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, thank you. My name is Karen. I'm from Baltimore City. I'm a 55-year-old career employee, and I think it's awful, horrible that after we've been through a year and a half of suffering, our loved ones are dead, okay? Their incomes have been taken from us. We've lived through tragedies and been terrorized. I've been terrified to go to the store, to take the mail out the mailbox. For a whole year, I've been shaken and then worried at every couple of months, where my money coming from, how I'm gonna pay my mortgage. My mortgage is $1,000 a month, and I've lived off of $1,600 a month for 6 months while Congress tried to come up with a new stimulus package. And then when we do finally get a stimulus package, this man, Hogan, cuts off our income. Now I'm trying to figure out how am I going to pay my mortgage in July? And I've worked for 39 years in this state. I was born and raised here, and I've paid my taxes just like the rest of us. And it's owed to us. I shouldn't be forced to go out here and find a job, a seasonal job in Ocean City. I don't do that. Or go pick a crab somewhere. Or clean the toilet somewhere. I'm a career person. I make $30 an hour or $60 an hour. It depends on my performance. And I am livid about this man cutting off of our benefits. And in 3 weeks, I'm going to have no income at all. And I've never in my adult life not had an income coming in. I mean, this has stressed me out more than going through my divorce. And I am mad, I am disgusted, and I am ready to fight. We're not only losing $300 a week, people who have been on unemployment more than 52 weeks, and this pandemic has been going on more than 52 weeks, will get nothing. Your benefits end. So you're not only losing the $300 a week, you're losing everything. Did we see the food lines out here when people were getting unemployment? It was food lines. Imagine what we're going to go through in July and August and September. We did everything that Hogan asked us to do. We wore the mask. We made him look great as a governor. And he turned around and stabbed us in the back. We had some of the lowest numbers in the country for the pandemic. That's because of what we did. And I am so mad. And I think we all need to spread the word. We're not only losing $300 a week, you're losing everything. If you've been on unemployment more than, it might be 26 weeks now, you're not going to get anything else. You will have no income. And that's the situation that I'm in. And I'm ready to fight. I'm not crying anymore. I already cried over my dead nephew, my dead friend who died from COVID, and 4 other people. I lost 6 people to COVID, and I'm supposed to just snap back and, okay, go over here and clean a toilet somewhere.
That's right.
So I thank y'all for listening, and I'm sorry we all have to go through this.
Thank you, and I think your words of inspiration, we're going to fight back, are important words. We want to transition into opening up the floor please, everybody, be patient with us with this technology, because we're trying to do a mixed thing. It's a webinar so that we can include a lot more people and do a lot of other things that you can't do with a meeting, that is to take it live. So what I'm going to do is tell people that at the bottom of your screen, you should see a little icon that says raise hand. Now, maybe some of you don't see that. If you can't see it, put it in chat that you would like to speak or be on stack, what we call stack, but just say your name in chat to everyone. And Andrew, who's one of our helpful persons on technology, is going to be checking, along with our attorney, is going to be checking on the list of chat to see who wants to speak next. I will do my best to call upon people in the order that I see hands and, you know, that people have sent a chat. And you can send it privately either to Sharon Black alone. And I see a lot of people put things down here. So please be patient with us. If you have to ask twice, please don't feel bad. It's not because we've slighted you. It's because we didn't see it. And now I see tons of hands. So the first person, and we'll see what we're going to do. We're going to hit allow talk and with the camera, and we'll see how that works. I'm going to ask you to unmute, and then we're going to go over to more, and it'll say promote to panelists for a second, and that way you can do it.
Ms. George, we've allowed you to speak. You just need to unmute.
And put your yes.
Yes. Okay. Ms. Kyra George, and I'm a citizen of Baltimore, Maryland. I've been a citizen all my life. I've worked from the age of 12 years old, working at Wendy's and Church's Chicken in Baltimore, Maryland. I've been working, daggone all my life. And I'm just so frustrated because I have been unemployed since October 9th, 2020. And I haven't received unemployment whatsoever. I went on Beacon, I went on the Axe, I registered with the Southwest Career Center, that's in Baltimore, Maryland. Anything that is required of me.
We've lost you a little bit. The internet connection. We've lost her.
Okay.
We've actually lost her. Who's
All right.
next on the list?
Regina was trying to speak. She was reaching out and let her go.
Oh, Miss Regina, would you like to unmute? There you go.
Okay, hi.
Could you put your
Can you hear me? Okay.
your video on?
Yes. I apologize. I'm trying to do that. It's kind of.
Yeah, don't feel bad.
Hi.
Thank you.
I'm Regina Harrington. I'm calling from Baltimore, Maryland. Okay, so I've been unemployed for a while now from the beginning of the COVID, and I was receiving the benefits up until March 6th. I was receiving. I haven't received the benefit. They actually told me to upload some new documents because they were saying that I was under fraud investigation, and that since that I'm under fraud investigation because they had the system that they first came out with, the new system that they first came out with, they was just saying yes to every case. They didn't really look at anything. That's what they was telling me. And then once I actually uploaded those documents that they needed, like they asked for first they asked for the front of my ID and my social and my latest W-2, which it was a job that I had got dismissed from due to COVID regulations in the building. But due to that, like before that, my house had caught on fire. Prior to that, my house had caught on fire, so I had to get a new place. So with the first couple of checks that I had got from the unemployment, I went and got a new place. But once they cut me off in March, like I couldn't add my son to my case because of that that fire that happened prior to me moving. And well, they asked me to upload documents, which I couldn't upload my son's documents because I didn't have picture documents of his stuff. I just had picture documents of my stuff, it's something previous. But anyways, I uploaded whatever they needed, like the wage verification forms, things of that nature. I did that, and I waited about a week for them to get back to me, and no one got back to me. So I called in and I talked to someone about it, and they told me that it was still under investigation. So they told me that I had to wait. They didn't know how much time it was going to take for me to be able to get it back, for them to take a look at it. So I waited another 3 weeks, and I called back, and they told me that I didn't put my documentation in the correct way. They said that I needed the front and the back of both social and identification card. But they approved my wage verification that I sent in. And once I uploaded the documents of the front and back of my ID and the front and back of my social, they took another 2 months. I have not yet received any benefits due to that. They still keep telling me that it's under fraud investigation, but they approved my wage verification forms, showing the wages that I get, but which I'm not getting anything at this point. And then I think that's when they came up with, if you're doing self-employment, they asked for that documentation, which I'm not. I'm not doing any self-employment. So it was seeming like once they put that out there, if I was doing self-employment, and I would get back, I think it was an extra 3,000, or show that I was getting 3,000 or something like that, that I would get extra benefits. So with them doing that, like it's been a very unsettling and uneased couple of months with me. Like I'm not able to do things for my son or for my house at this point. I do live in public housing, but I also still have to pay something. You know what I'm saying? Like I still have to, do my my electric and my water. Like I have to pay that, and I have not able to. I haven't been able to do any of those things in the past couple months. I have been getting things like $100 here and there, but that is not settling to me because it's like the lady was saying previously before, the food is the problem. Like I have to go get food from different places, which, what I'm saying, I'm grateful for every little thing that I get. It's just that now that it's becoming to the point where he's trying to shut it all off altogether, it's really disturbing. Like I don't understand why he's doing that, like why he's making the workers tell us all these untrue statements about being a fraudulent case. Because when I first got my unemployment, they asked for the same documentation, right? So I'm trying to figure out, where is that documentation that I sent to you previously before, and why can't you look back at that documentation, and why is it taking so long? So my husband, we filed for him last year, I want to say May. We filed for him last year in May, and he got it for maybe a month, and they cut his card off saying that he was under fraudulent investigation as well. And we sent his items and stuff in, and they haven't gave him nothing. So it's been a year since he actually got anything. You know what I'm saying? They did send a lump sum, but he wasn't even able to touch the rest of the money once he got it, because they kept saying it was under fraudulent investigation. I keep saying to myself, I don't want to assume what these people are doing, but it just seems as though they keep using the word fraud just to cut people off so they don't get no money. And it's not I'm not gonna say it's not fair, but it's making people, it's putting people in unease situations, you know, where they can't pay rent and they're being put out, you know, like we're really struggling over here in this household. You know, like we really, really was doing well. Like I'm grateful for everything. So if they do just, I really would just like my unemployment, because I did work for my unemployment, and it's my right to have my unemployment. So I would just love to get it back. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Ms. Harrington, and I've got to be real strict about the timing because people are putting messages in. We have somebody time. I told them just let the timer go off. So when your 3 minutes is up, you'll hear the timer beep, I believe.
Yep.
So we want to start getting strict with that. And I apologize to the people waiting in line to speak still. And also I want to apologize to Miss Jerry Bell, who was also on the stack much, much earlier. So I'm going to ask Jerry Bell to unmute, and then we're gonna start with the message thing, and we'll give you a 2-minute warning once you're into 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, and I will honestly try to be brief, because some of the stories are much more dire than mine. I did receive unemployment for the work time that I did not work from the middle of March in 2020 up through January. And it was a great help, and it was generous because it was the extra 600 plus the very minimum. And that was good. And then after July, it was the 300 plus the minimum. And because I'm self-employed and I relied on this self-employment as an extra with my Social Security, which is pretty meager, but still I needed that. It was what I was planning. It's what I relied on. And then I kept on filing, and then I realized they're not putting the funds in my card. There's nothing there. And then they said they needed 2 new documents, something to prove my unemployment from 2019 and 2020. I submitted those, and they said, fine. That showed up on the beacon. It was okay. And then, but nothing else came through. And then finally, a month or so after that, I don't know, I guess the first time I called or tried to, I went on a virtual thing and had a virtual conversation. She said, yes, it's on hold because it is being adjudicated. And she couldn't tell me why. It said unresolved issues. And they would let me know when. Well, we can't tell you that. I tried again about 3 weeks later. Same thing, don't know anything. It's a real issue now because I had paid down a bill that I had, which was very large, that I had kept running for years when my income was below poverty. And that extra money was what I was getting by with every year. And I was actually able to pay some of that down with that unemployment, thinking I would, I had no reason to think that it was going to end. I just want to know if there's a reason why they're questioning something. I want to know. I just want to have a conversation with them, with the adjudicator, with somebody. There are some extenuating circumstances they might be questioning, but ask me, let me know. The person who was on that virtual call, nothing, no help whatsoever. So I need to know. I have a huge amount of huge for me, for the full amount of my property taxes due because of this wonderful unemployment last year. Now I get no help whatsoever for my property taxes. And it's like, help, I need the unemployment to pay for my property taxes or else I'm in a hole there. So, it boomerangs. And, but I realize, so thank you. And other people, I really, when you have nothing coming in whatsoever and haven't for all those months, that's, I'm better than that.
Ms. Bell, your time's up.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we're trying to make the actual bell ring. I'm
okay.
A little bit of a hard time.
Can I stay close to 3 minutes?
Yeah. So we're gonna actually go on to, we're gonna allow
Let Ms. George finish.
Ms. George finish if that's possible to do that. I'm trying to get it up here.
Ms. George, there you go.
Thank you. I know that everybody want to get their point across and everybody is going through something. Well, so am I, because some of us have gotten their unemployment. You know, I haven't gotten anything at all. My truck has been repossessed twice and is on its way to be repossessed again. You know, I have a mortgage. My house is in foreclosure right now. You know, $2,500 mortgage a month. Okay. I'm just like the young lady said that she's used to making a certain amount of money. Well, you know, I'm used to making $100 an hour. Work that I do. So right now, I have a career, but I would take anything right now. I would take any job. If it means scrubbing the floors, scrubbing the cement, picking trash up off the grounds, I was what you just said, to have an income. Because employment is something that I worked for all my life, that I paid into, my employers paid into. I'm unable to receive it. I've been howling out for help since October 9th. No one hears me. I can't get any help. I've done everything that unemployment asks of us to do online. I have done it all on a beacon. You know, I have went to register at Southwest Korea Center as they require you to do. I can't even go online to file weekly. I can't do any of that. You know, I'm asking for someone to help me. Let me get a check. I haven't even gotten a check. I don't know where my next meal is coming from. I exhausted everything. Like the young lady said earlier, jewelry. Oh, trust me, I've done it all. I've pawned everything. I'm down to 3 pieces of jewelry. And I have lost some of my jewelry because I can't pay it.
Ms. George.
And then I can't even.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Your time is up, Ms. George. Sorry.
Wow, I didn't even get to talk. Okay. All right. Thank you.
We apologize for people. We're actually sending the timer. I apologize. And if there's time at the end, Letitia Cox. I'm just going down by who's got the hand up.
So wrong. It's so wrong.
Miss Cox? Go ahead. Miss Cox, could you unmute and Miss Cox? Okay, let's go on to the next person. Yes. Okay. Okay, Miss Sarah Blake. Oh, there you are, Miss Cox. I'm going to call on, wait a second, you have to unmute. Hold on, Miss Sarah, before I call on you, Miss Cox is next. The thing is I need to actually ask Miss Cox to unmute. And then next, Sarah.
Hello, good evening. I'm gonna try to make it quick as possible. I am a Baltimore City resident all my life. I was employed at the Baltimore Convention Center, for those that are aware of Baltimore, for 20 years, 2 companies. Of course, March 12th of 2020, I went to unemployment status due to the pandemic. I went into already having issues prior to, shortly before, with having unemployment issues at the Baltimore Convention Center. So I went to request unemployment. So it was open and then closed and open, and then it went to permanently closed due to the pandemic. My benefits closed February once I was out trying to get my medicine for my diabetes. Went to go pay for my medicine and the card kept declining. No information from unemployment through mail, email, through the Beacon portal of anything. Myself and some of my siblings, as well as some of my relatives, was experiencing the same thing, same time. Right here in my household, my kids, my sons that was working, due to the pandemic, lost their jobs and stuff like that. Beacon page has been closed. We talk to representatives 2 to 3 times a week. Basically, when you talk to the representative, you get things of they're working on it, we're short staff, we're not the department that handles it. My frustration is that some of the representatives, when you speak to them, share that they're waiting on information from my job. The Baltimore Convention Center was a triage for the pandemic overflow from the hospital since last year. Then went into vaccination thing, and still currently is doing it. My job reached out to unemployment and sent in several letters, emails through them throughout the 1 year and 3 months
Your
that I have been unemployed.
We need to have you wrap up, Ms. Letitia.
Okay. So my concern is that you're hearing that the $5 billion that Bank of America lost is the part of the reason on why they're doing the fraudulent request to us to try to trace and rid out the people. But the people that has proven their identity are still not getting any resolved. My life insurance and stuff for my family is closed. I'm battling with my rental office on trying to get government funds and applications applied and stuff like that to help me with rent and those things. You get denied. You hear people taking their personal things. It's not for everybody. I said it's not for you to decide. Let people apply for those things to help us in this unfortunate mayhem that has been created by the state of Maryland. I'm not sure if it's happening across the board to other people, but something needs to be done. Emails has been sent out, fax has been there. I have even went to the library to pull up my Beacon information to try to get my 1099 form, which I haven't had no avail or success in getting. And I did it in the cold of winter when the libraries would not allow people in. These are some of the unfortunate things are placing upon us with hire people to resolve these fraudulent, quote unquote, cases and resolve our liveliness. Our lives matter. I've been in the hospital 3 times from stress. I have a relative in a coma that I couldn't even afford to get to because my account and money is halted. It's unfair and it's unjust.
Thank you, Letitia Cox. And I apologize for people that I have to be the evil timekeeper. What I think we'll do is give people, when they get to 2 minutes, you know, what time it is, and then you have 1 minute.
I understand.
No, I feel
I
really,
understand.
really bad. I also am failing at another thing because sometimes it's just initials up here and I don't want to misgender anybody. So I am just going to literally call you by whatever name is on that thing. I'm going to call you by the full name. So no disrespect. I'm from the South and I'm from Baltimore and I say miss a lot. And I don't want to do that. So Sarah Blake, if you want to go next.
Hi, my name is Sarah Blake. I'll be relatively quick. I was living in an apartment in Elkridge in Howard County with a roommate, and I was working in Hanover, Maryland as a legal assistant. I got laid off due to COVID on April 1st, 2020. So I've been unemployed a year and a few months now, and I've been more lucky than most because I've gotten my unemployment for the entire time. But these recent, I woke up as everyone did, and I was unable to file my weekly web cert. Wasn't able to, the system wasn't working properly. So now I've tried to do everything I can. You know, I've reached out to my delegates. I've reached out to the Anne Arundel County Unemployment Center. I've reached out to any other contacts that I have. And I'm also really upset, like everybody else is, about losing the extra $300 a week.
Thank you, Sarah Blake. I'm going to just go down this thing, and the next person on this list is Ken Benner. And I am going to put you up here, and it should allow you to, Ken Benner, if you could, yeah, there you go. And if you could unmute yourself.
All right, thank you. I live in Baltimore City. I just want to thank everyone for sharing. It's really horrible situation. Real quick, I filed February 2021 Um, I've called a million times. I've reached out to a ton of people. Basically, I'm just waiting for the adjudication, and I haven't heard anything since then. I've never got a check. So just a waiting time. I just want to put that out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. And I'm just going down this list. I think I went to Letitia Cox already. Okay, I know why I'm having. Okay, I did Brent Thomas. Brent Thomas. You should be up here. Okay.
Can you hear me? I hope I hit the right thing.
You hit the right thing. Okay.
Okay, good. All right.
Thank
Give me
you.
one.
Okay.
All right. I will be brief also, but just to start with my situation, so it's mine and my grandma's, but so I fairly have been going through the same issues as everyone else. For me though, just recently, when everything went out, the kind of information, didn't know what was going on, I was told to reapply. I reapplied, got a hold of somebody, they said I shouldn't have reapplied, and now my situation's in limbo. I'm not going to get any more payments. But I really wanted to join to actually bring up about my grandmother's situation. So not only did she wait a couple months when she applied, she had her own business, and because of COVID, it was shut down. She was a hairdresser. She lost her business. So I've been helping her throughout this whole thing, trying to figure things out. Waited a couple months, got the unemployment, and then it just stopped. And we had no clue what happened. This is a time when Beacon was being updated and transitioned. So I had to go in, it was a couple months. I had to go into her Beacon, played around with it, and found under correspondence a letter that was sent July 10th. And I don't know if you guys can actually see this or not, but it actually says, due to a technical issue, you may not have received this correspondence or been alerted to its availability through your preferred method of communication. Please utilize this version as the official one. Now, we found this in September. So after all this time, we've been waiting and waiting, waiting. At the bottom, well, here's the other thing too. It says the PUA about a certificate, or you are ineligible for PUA because nothing's listed. So we had to file an appeal, and it says at the bottom to file it by fax. Went through that. We got a date around October 10th. Went through that. Nothing was said other than she just started getting money. Here recently, from the other update, we got another thing we had to go through. I've been helping her out with this. This time was because we filed a late appeal, and they wanted to know why it was filed late. So had to go through the same thing with adjudication. The guy really just was very nasty towards us and had a lot of issues.
Brent Thomas, will you have one more minute?
Okay. So anyway, so it's been a battle to understand the system, let alone having things constantly trying to take from you. And my grandma's 71 years old. You know, she's been out working forever, and it's just a situation that is not great. People are kind of ageist. They're not hiring older people, or they kind of look at them, subliminally. It's been difficult. Now there's a possibility of us losing our benefits. I know I probably have lost mine because I reapplied. But thank you, everyone. And I just want to say we're all in the same boat, and I wish everyone the best of luck.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I would like to call on Dawn W. You should be up on the screen pretty soon. Dawn W. You're up on the screen, Dawn W. And if you could, you're unmuted. And if you would like to show your face, the mic is yours. Dawn? Dawn? Maybe we should go on to the next person. Okay. Dawn?
Okay, I'm here. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm going to make this as quick as possible because my situation is a lot like everybody else's. I had to apply in March of last year because my store closed because of COVID, and later actually went out of business. When I wasn't receiving my payments right away, I called back and an agent told me that I had to switch from UI to PUA, which I did. And I started receiving my payments. Come December, I went on hold and could never reach anybody by phone, started trying to reach people by chat, and was getting conflicting stories with the chats. I finally, 2 months ago, was able to get a hold of somebody in chat who put in a ticket for me and said this was a duplicate issue that needed to be adjudicated. I have emailed the overpayment department because within 24 hours of getting a ticket put in, I was slapped with a $3,200 overpayment. Still haven't heard anything from anybody. Can't get through on the phone. I chatted with another guy who told me, why are you so worried about your overpayment? It's not like the sheriff's going to come to your door and collect it from you. And I said, that's not the point. I don't owe an overpayment. So fast forward, now I had to reapply. I did that. I'm still on hold. It still shows an overpayment. My monetary value went from $12,000 to $4,000. My husband and I went through my Bank of America and looked at the deposits against the overpayment amounts that they said that they sent me. And they said that they paid me 2 payments of $776 in April, and I never received anything in April. I didn't start actually receiving payments until June of 2020. Now, mind you, I've had a stroke. I've been in the ER 5 times.
1 minute.
Wow.
And now I'm still applying for jobs because I'm going to lose my benefits, knowing that in a month or 2, I have to have a full hysterectomy. I was diagnosed with endometriosis, and I will be unemployed again in 2 months because I will be down for at least 12 weeks after having surgery. So like everybody else, you can't get through, but you have an overpayment. And what you're showing is your deposits, and what they're showing that they paid you is not even legit. But you can't get through on the phone to even talk to somebody. You email overpayment. They don't even return your emails. But I will say that I do have a claim in, and I want to thank Matt Morgan's office because they are trying to assist me with that. So please, everybody, reach out to your delegates because they are really trying to help us. But again, how are we supposed to help ourselves to fix any of this when you cannot reach anybody on the phone? And if you do, every single person gives you a different story. Yeah. I have done everything that they have asked me to do. And if you look in my beacon, it shows UI, PUA, UI, and PUA again. Somebody in unemployment switched that. I don't have the ability to switch that. So there lies the problem. And we're all in the same boat with this. And there is no help for us. At this point, I don't care if I never see the $6,000 that they owe me. I just want my overpayment to go away so they don't take my taxes. They don't ruin my credit any more than they have. Because now from having an 800 credit score, I have a 600 credit score. From having to use credit cards to survive.
Thank you. Thank you. I apologize for interrupting you, Tama. Christina.
Well, thank you very much for the time.
Thank you. And I apologize. And I want to tell people again, we'll keep putting in the chat. You're not alone, and there is hope, and we're going to fight back. And we do have also pro bono attorneys that will file appeals on all this. So you're not alone. Christina Padilla.
Hi. Thank you for holding this meeting tonight. So my name is Christina Padilla. I'm from Montgomery County. And so my husband is active duty. He's on deployment in South Korea. I lost my job at the beginning of March and of 2000, right at the height of the pandemic when everything was closing down. I'm a mixed earner. I have a small business, and I also had a part-time job. I have had numerous runarounds trying to apply, being told that I wasn't eligible for regular unemployment. I wasn't eligible for PUA. I finally was able to get PUA, but then they put me on hold because they claimed that they couldn't get a hold of a employer from 2 years ago. And I didn't get my back payments until July of 2020. So when I went through that, finally got my back payments, but then right before September, right when they were doing their extensions and changing things around, I got cut off. And then it took me another 3 months just to get a few more. By that point, I had found a part-time job, started working. I ended up in the hospital with COVID. I had to be let go because I didn't qualify for family leave. I didn't qualify for sick earned time and stuff like that because I was on probation for being a new employee. So since January till now, I have been trying to get a hold of someone at unemployment.
1 minute, please.
Okay.
1 minute left.
Every time I call in, it's another story. I'm eligible, or they can't get a hold of my employer, or yesterday I spoke to a rep and she said some of the claims have been lost for months and that they're finding them in the system. And that's why a lot of people are not getting paid. That's ridiculous. Meanwhile, I have a mortgage, I have a truck, just like everybody else. I have bills. I have health issues. I can't work outside of the home right now because of being sick. It's aggravated other health issues. So even though I'm home, I'm still trying to look for work remote so that I can have an income, because I don't know if I'm ever going to receive benefits again or what. And so every time I call in, it's sit on the phone, get hung up on, or get put on hold and then hung up on, or just 40 phone calls until I get into a queue to talk to a rep who is very rude and tells me a whole different story.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. Next person is Trisha Watkins. If you want, unmute your mic or start your video. Thank you.
Hi. So as everybody has really kind of talked about at this point, I was one of the lucky people that managed to get benefits very early on. I was laid off as of March 16th of last year and have been ever since. Not by choice, but the schools never reopened full time. And I have 2 little boys. I ended the school year last year with virtual learning for a kindergartner and a kindergartner. If I could go back to work, I would. Their daddy, his schedule varies because he is a technician. So prior to this, I was in upper management. I was working salary 50 to 80 hours a week, depending on staffing. Me working is not an issue. Me having schools open for my children to have care so I have the availability to work does matter, though. And if you're, for Hogan to pull these benefits when schools never reopened, and while I understand that's not relevant for the summer, it is still an issue. With them originally going through September, it pulled a lot of that stress off because, okay, schools should be open full time. I can start looking for work, have something set up, and once the kids go back to school, I'll be fine. And then, no, it ends in July. And then I went to file my weekly cert, just like many of you, on Sunday, only to have no weekly cert. I have called dozens and dozens of times since March of last year. I have not once ever gotten through to a real person on that phone, any of those phone lines. I have emailed all of the email addresses that they have for us to contact them. I received 1 email, and that was back in March of last year. I've never received another email. And then I finally got through
One more minute, just so you know. Go ahead.
Not a problem. I finally got through on chat the other day trying to handle this reapplication thing because I've had an apply for benefits button through Beacon since Beacon changed over. I've always had that button. When I finally got through on chat, I was told that I needed to reapply because my benefit year had come due. But according to the documents that they have posted, your benefit year hitting is why you have to reapply. However, my benefit year, according to my claim, doesn't end until September 4th of 2021. So I shouldn't have to be reapplying. And I also can't reapply through the system because according to them, my work dates are over 3 weeks past, which they are. I haven't worked since last March. And because I haven't worked in so long, I can't file the claim unless I call the phone lines that they don't answer.
Thank you so much. Next person is Godwin Langford. If you could unmute and turn on your mic. Thank you.
Hi.
Good one.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not going to tell my own story because I think the personal stories of the people who have already spoken have spoken loud enough. But I just wanted to say that it seems clear to me that the decision to, first of all, shorten the PUA benefits period ending on July 3rd, and then secondly, pull it out from under the legs of so many of us instantaneously this week, starting Sunday, is a very clear answer from Governor Hogan to the Republican moral panic regarding a worker shortage. Yeah, just that if it is an answer to that moral panic, it is the cruelest one that we've seen from any state leadership so far. We all deserve time to do a proper job search. We all deserve time to advocate for higher wages, and we all deserve time to speak with each other and decide what is best for us as workers. Solidarity now, solidarity forever. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Goodwin. I'm going to call on, I had the person's name right up here, who was next on the list. I apologize. Oh, gosh darn. April Mizek. If you could unmute and put on your video if you're able to. Thank you, April. April left or April accidentally left? April's been waiting. Oh my gosh. If April gets to get on again, I know that they've waited for some time. And I'm just going down this in the order that it appears on the screen. Delegate Sheila Ruth, I'm going to call on you unless mysteriously other speaker appears, but okay. Delegate Ruth.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. My name is Delegate Sheila Ruth. I represent District 44B in Western Baltimore County, and I'm angry. I'm angry because this is not right. I'm angry that it's not right that many of you are on hold for months waiting for benefits, waiting to hear from a person. It's not right that some of you are accused of fraud when you're just trying to get what you've earned. It's not right that you can't reach a person to help you. It's not right that some of you have had money taken away from your cards after you had money because you were accused of fraud. It's not right that all of a sudden this week you had to reapply, and possibly start over again when you've been getting benefits and there was no notice. And it's not right that Governor Hogan is returning this federal money that's supposed to help people, that's supposed to stimulate our economy. I want to make it clear I don't blame the hardworking people who work at the Department of Labor. I know they're working long hours under very stressful conditions. I blame the leadership. I blame Secretary Robinson, and I blame Governor Hogan. And I think they either don't know or don't care what it's really like for real people. You know, they say, well, if you're on hold for several months trying to get your benefits, you'll get your back benefits eventually. That doesn't help you feed your children today. That doesn't help you pay your rent today. You know, you need this money and you need it now. And we had the Economic Matters Committee had a hearing this week, some of you may have watched. And Secretary Robinson said in that hearing that everybody should have a case manager contacting them once a week. How many of you have a case manager contacting you once a week? I know many of my constituents don't. I and all of my colleagues have been getting emails from constituents since the beginning, and we're still getting emails from constituents. And many say things like, I've been working since I was 14 years old, and I never thought that I would need government assistance. And now that I need it, it's not there. People want to work.
1 more minute, Delegate Ruth.
Thank you. To say that people don't want to work is a lie. And it's not right to rip away this safety net while people are just trying to get back to work. And we want to help businesses too, but help them in a way that doesn't hurt people. And there are maybe creative ways of doing that, like some states are offering back to work bonuses. I just want to let you know that we in the lead there are many delegates here today. We're all angry. Many of us are trying to help. Our leadership asked for an opinion from the Attorney General about whether we can overturn the governor's decision. We're waiting to hear back about that. I also wanted to point out Delegate Lori Charkoudian posted in the chat about HB 1002, a bill she sponsored that we passed that's now law, that puts some new requirements on the Department of Labor, requirements that they are not living up to. So they are now breaking the law in some of the things that they're doing that this bill required. And so many of us are angry, and we'll continue to do everything that we can to help you, either both individually helping constituents and you know, doing everything that we can to try to fix an unjust system. And you know, if anyone is in District 44B, please, you know, reach out and you know, we're happy to do everything we can to help.
Thank you, Delegate Ruth. And I'd like to just say we have some other folks with hands up. We're still double checking the chat. We're not going to end the discussion until, you know, everyone has had a chance at their 3 minutes, and apologize for constantly interrupting people. I do want to make an important announcement, and we'll keep underscoring this. You know, we will send out email on it. This Zoom call is for the purposes of people being able to express themselves, but not just in terms of just throwing this out to the universe or even expecting that it will be the magic solution to either the state officials, and certainly not Governor Hogan or even Labor Secretary Robinson. But what it is a way to make sure that everyone on this call knows you are not alone. See, that's the question. And that's why we formed a union, because that's what it's about, us working together. And I know we made a little mistake, I think on one slide, it's June 19th, on Juneteenth. And this month, Saturday, we are marking as a day for statewide protests. We will be in Annapolis at 2 o'clock. You know, we thank Delegate Ruth for hanging in, and any of the other delegates who've been so patient and listening. Come out, stand with us on that day in Annapolis. It's 2 o'clock. And also, because this is statewide, we know that some folks cannot get to Annapolis for lots and lots of reasons. So become an organizer in your area, hold signs. It can be 5 of you or it can be 50 of you. Get supporters out. That's why we pick Saturday. So other people who are working, other union members can actually come out. And April's back on. So April was getting ready to discuss things, and I've got her on the list. And then I think we have Amadou. I'm just reading out names so that you know that you're getting called up. Amadou Levy, I.D. Langston, Roger Evans, Megan Johnson. But like I said, we are not closing this down until we've heard from everybody. And like I said, your words are meaningful, because it's a question of us knowing that none of us is alone. And not only does it have to do with acting in terms of winning our rights in the immediate period, and we believe that we can stop Governor Hogan. What we do know is that if we do nothing, we can't stop him. So we will do everything we can, from the class action lawsuit that we talked about to protests. And truthfully, because I come from that period, civil disobedience, if that's what it means. And some of us may go to jail. So this is the truth, and we will go forward. But even beyond that, we have to stick together, because when one of us is getting evicted, we have to be there to stop the eviction. If one of us is being foreclosed, we have to be able to hold a picket at the bank and tell them they're heartless, they can't do this, or not take your car. We can't stop everything, but we'll try like the darndest we can. So April Mizak, if I pronounced your name wrong, the floor is yours now.
Hi, thanks. Technical difficulties. I think we're starting to see a common theme. I have a similar story to a lot of people. I lost my job at the end of October because I refused to fudge numbers for my employer. And so it was no fault of my own. I did the right thing. I lost my job. And it took me 5 months to finally get my debit card. As soon as I activated it, it was flagged as potential fraud, locked, and I couldn't use the funds. So I did what I was told. I went on to Beacon. I uploaded, it only needed one, but I uploaded multiple forms of my proof of identity. Said it wasn't enough, asked for more, I uploaded more, wasn't enough, and it's just been locked completely since, and I can't do anything. Like everyone said, I can't get a hold of a person. You can't even fax in. The fax number is completely blocked. So I went to FedEx and priority mailed copies of front and back of everything, of my driver's license, a security card, passport, birth certificate, the unemployment debit card benefits that didn't work, the card, front and back of the card itself, just everything I had. So speaking of fraud, that's a really good way to probably get your identity stolen. But I sent everything that I had so they would have it, but still nothing. Everything is locked. I can't get in, I can't do anything, and you can't get a hold of anyone. I still call, email every address I can get a hold of. I put in the problem resolution logs, don't hear anything. I probably put in 50 of them just for the fun of it. And sometimes I'm kind and sometimes I get loud and all caps and I have to send some nasty grams, and I shouldn't have to do that. But I've really tried everything and it doesn't seem to be working. And I don't know why I could have been flagged as potential fraud, but it seems like that's just something that's been going on for everyone. So I hope in this class action lawsuit that Mr. Summerfield is working on, that we can potentially in discovery get some kind of access to the algorithms that they're using, because it seems that they're just trying to do a catch-all and get everybody and flag everybody as potential fraud and hope that we just get fatigued and give up and don't get our benefits. So I mean, it's been almost 8 months now total, and I haven't received the benefits, and there's nothing else I can do in Beacon. And I have, plenty of personal issues too. So when I lost my job, I was actually dealing with advanced cancer, and that was October. I lost my job. Luckily, in December, I paid out of pocket, didn't have any insurance to see my oncologist. Turns out I'm supposedly cancer-free. And then now it's been 6 months since then, and I haven't had a chance to, I've missed now 2 updates or checkups with my oncologist. Haven't been able to get my port flushed. You're supposed to get it flushed every month or at least every 3 months, and that's been 6 months. So that's a health hazard. There's just a lot of reasons that that not getting benefits is obviously hurting so many people, and it's not okay. It's affecting lives. It's affecting people's homes and families, and Tiffany Robinson should really be ashamed of herself. Larry Hogan should really be ashamed of himself. And I really hope that we can make some progress with this class action lawsuit, and anyone who's listening that has some pull or connections or any kind of ability to impact the progress that we can make here, everything is much appreciated, and anything helps. And we're all here to really add to any of the efforts in any way we can, and I'm here to help. So thanks for organizing this and allowing us to share our stories.
I have a question for April. April, who did you contact with your debit card? Because mine was hacked.
Well, everyone really. I've digged and got, I've sent emails and Instagrams to plenty of people, but the UI fraud division especially, and that's where I sent copies of all of my, proof of identity and that kind of thing. But I've contacted everyone.
Thank you.
Why'd you stop my video? You're on mute, Sharon.
Sharon, I think you're on
I
mute.
apologize. I apologize. I was calling on JD Langston.
Okay, that's me. Sorry, I apologize.
No, I apologize.
I am hearing everyone's frustrations, and I can echo it. Very beginning of the pandemic took a while for me to get my benefits. I eventually had gotten them. Now, because of Hogan cutting off benefits for what reason I don't know, wanting to deprive Marylanders of $1.5 billion in federal funding that can help the economy. It can help the unemployed get on their feet. If I don't get unemployment, I can't put gas in my car to go to look for a job. I can't pay for my rent to live to go look for a job. So it's kind of, I'm 31 now, and I've been working since I've been 13. And actually, just after doing my taxes this year with my old family friend, once I become 65 of the age, I can now start, at that time, get to Social Security. So if anything, that should say how much I work. And, I think in the past, since I've been 13, I've only had 3 family reunions, which were my 3 vacations that I've had. And all of my jobs have been in the restaurant and hospitality industry. I was every position you can think of, mostly a server, but then finally moved up to being a bartender. Then I was working at Congressional Country Club, and I do want to work, but I am deserved to get the benefits that I have worked for almost more than half my life. And I understand everyone's frustrations, but I at least want to say, whenever I was able to get a hold of someone on the phone at the unemployment office, they've always been very kind. 1 minute I heard, thank you. They've always been kind. I've always expressed to them, thank you for your patience. I know you probably hear a lot of calls. Advice I can give to everyone is, first thing you do when you get a hold of an agent is give them your number, tell them to write your number down. So if you do get disconnected, they can call you back and get your claim taken care of. I think also they want us to reapply for these benefits because they want to cut us off on the benefits and kind of cut us off of the American Rescue Plan that was passed. So, it obviously shows he doesn't care about Marylanders. If he even really did care about Marylanders, he would allocate the money, the $300 to the homeless or to the essential workers that were working during this whole entire time. And still we get the $430, but then they can get that extra $300. Don't let the money go away. Maryland needs this money to get back together.
Thank you, JD Langston. I had Amadou. I know that I had Amadou up here, and now I cannot see their.
Who in the bed first?
Hello?
Amadou, I'm sorry. If you could, you're unmuted now and you can speak.
Okay, well, I'm just calling in reference for people I have helped them do their unemployment certification. This has been a nightmare. Like, I've helped people who have lost their jobs and didn't know what to do, how to sign up about it, go about signing with unemployment. And it's just been a nightmare. They've been on hold, unlimited, nothing. And then out of the blue, Larry Hogan goes and cancels the unemployment. There's plenty of people in Maryland who don't have, are in a good state or situation to begin looking for jobs. Or even if he was going to cut it, at least make it a process that everybody has time to look for jobs. Everybody has time to, get their bearings. But to just go and cut it, how are people going to survive? There's plenty of people I know with zero money. I was on unemployment. I'm still on unemployment. I had to bury my dad, no money. How is it possible for you to be so heartless just to cut it out? I know other people's stories worse than mine. I just thank God that I have a little bit of support. But other than that, this is beyond me. You vote for these officials, and it's like when they come into office, they become something else. You just can't pull the rug out from under people without giving them time to prepare for it. You just came last month, I think the beginning of this month, or the end of last month, to say you're going to cut the process out. How are people going to survive? There's people with zero money. There's people who have situations like I did. I was paying for my dad to go back and forth to his appointments. It's difficult. And my situation is not as bad as other people, but it's tough and it's wrong. And I think Blair Hogan should have did more critical thinking or put more thought into the process before he went ahead and just canceled everything. And that's wrong. And I just think people should stand up and, fight for what they believe in. If you think it's wrong, get out and do it. If you're not going to, well, that's where it is. But everybody have to, play their part. It's sad.
Thank you, Amadou Levy. Megan Johnson, if I pronounced that name right, is next. If you unmute your mic and your video. You can go
Hello,
ahead.
how are you?
Good.
Hi, like everybody else, I've lived in Maryland my entire life, been working since I was 14. I have pretty much been on unemployment maybe a total of 3 or 4 times my entire life, which means that I've worked pretty much all the time. I was a salaried employee prior to COVID. I was a business manager, so I had a career making around $23 to $24 an hour. I'm 31 years old and I've made probably about 50 grand a year since I was 25. By me not having any kids and being single, not married, I am one of the highest taxed people, meaning that I get about $200 to $400 taken out of my check every single time I work, no matter where I work, if I'm making that amount of money. Now, if you calculate that amount over years of working, that's a lot of money to give to the government for when I actually need my benefits, them not to give it to me, for them to give me the runaround, for them not to give me any notice, not to do all of the things that a government should do to ensure that their community, their citizens are okay, safe. It's to the point where my girlfriend, who also is having issues with unemployment, they cut hers off in January without any notice, telling her she had fraud. She's living with me now. And we're both living in my apartment, which at this point is behind on rent a couple of months. But luckily, because unfortunately the water and the gas doesn't work here, we don't have to pay rent continuously. But now we have to get out of here because the water and heat doesn't work. So we're in a situation where we can barely make things ends meet as they are, as it is. And then for him to cut benefits is kind of like ridiculous. Again, with no notice. And like everybody else, I can't get through to hear someone tell me why I'm reapplying. I lost my job in January. So apparently my 52 weeks are not over. I'm just starting. I just started in January. That makes no sense. How could I possibly be at 52 weeks? Sorry. So that's my 1 minute.
No, you have 1 minute left.
Okay, so if that's the case, I can't possibly be in the same boat if I didn't apply in March. I didn't lose my job until January. So that really doesn't make sense to me as to why I would have to reapply, and why when I did reapply, my monetary balance went from 17,000 to 11,000 on regular UI. So I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. How can we help the community? Because at this point, I'm over, like my girlfriend and I are both overdrawn. We have kids we have to feed every day. I don't know what else we're gonna do at this point.
Thank you so much, Megan Johnson. We have next on the screen, his hand is up, is Roger Evans. Oh, there you go, Roger Evans. Thank you.
How you doing? Yeah, so I'll keep mine short. I was pretty okay in terms of being able to access unemployment for about a year. Lost my job March of last year, and around March of this year, I was hit with a fraud verification, and I thought it was a simple process. I sent my documents and everything's all good, but it's been anything but simple. And I've called several times, and I've gotten a different story every time. I called and told them that the documents are in there, but there's nothing that's clicking over. Is anybody can help me? Then I was told to send it to the UI.Maryland email for fraud, and I sent the information there. I called back again to only be told that, well, no, I'm sorry. Well, that email is no longer active. And so what I was told, and after that, I was like, okay, can this be escalated? I was told it was escalated. called back. So told it was escalated 3 or 4 different times to the next level. To a certain from BS to make me think that my issue had been escalated to the highest point. I was given a number to call. I was given the same number to call. I called that number, then I was given another number. Eventually, I was given 3 different numbers that eventually led around to the same number in the first place. So basically, I've been given a runaround. I haven't been able to get through to anybody in the past few weeks because of the issues that happened to Beacon. And it's just been frustrating. It's just been frustrating. Fortunately, I was able. My wife is still working, so she's been hanging on and supporting us. And I'm looking for jobs now. But this entire process has been just unnecessarily complicated, and it's a shame that Hogan has done this to the people of Maryland. And my tenfold theory is that he purposely doesn't invest in these systems. He purposely doesn't hire the right amount of people because he just wants to force everybody out there back into the pandemic again because he cares nothing about his constituents. So I'm absolutely thankful that you guys are holding this town hall meeting, and I'm absolutely excited about the idea of organizing to fight for our rights.
Thank you. Yay. And wait a second. We're right on time. I'm going to put Patrick Patterson next as a panelist. I think they've waited a long time. Patrick, you should be getting into the room. Okay. Patrick? Okay, there goes Patrick Patterson. If you want to unmute and put on your video if you can, if you're able. Patrick? And because there's several different piles of people, if you're not muted, your background noise will be on. The only person unmuted should be Patrick Patterson. Patrick? Okay. I'm going to go ahead to Rich Cottle, and when Patrick gets on, call him. Okay. We're waiting for our 2 next people to get up on the screen. You know what it probably is? Maybe that people are now, we've reached the screen limits. Okay. Patrick's here. Rich Cottle, could you unmute? And put on your video, please. Rich Cottle.
Hello?
Okay, that's
Sorry,
this
is the first Zoom meeting I've been in. I've been in
no problem.
before.
Rich, to be patient, Patrick. We're going to go ahead and call on you. Sorry about that, Patrick.
No, and I apologize for wasting everyone's time as I'm trying to figure out this technology. I just, what's really funny to me is they decided to implement the Beacon system. I think it was 1.0 during the heart of the pandemic. Okay, so that in and of itself probably wasn't the smartest move. And then they start to put in additional requirements for, ID requirements. I've never been asked for my Social Security front and back, and then also my birth certificate. By the way, all 4 corners got to show, and you got to make sure it's in color. And so this is why they wouldn't accept my documents. So it took them 2 months to figure that out. So I got a call today, or email today, saying that my Bank of America account had been closed. Now, the unemployment has been making deposits into my account, but I haven't been able to actually get any of the money. I wonder who's in charge, who is actually doing any type of oversight, and then what are going to be the results? I mean, this is a situation that hopefully we won't have to go through it again. I would like it to never repeat it, though. I would like it to be, no one should have to go through this level of stress. Also, listening to the people on the phone, this is completely and totally mismanaged, and there's got to be the state solicitor, or they're executing state funds or on behalf of this, or federal funds on behalf of the Department of Labor. Why isn't the Office of the Inspector General on this and looking into it? I mean, these are my personal, I mean, this process should not be that hard. And you can't tell me $50 million or $1 billion was stolen by Russian hackers. Okay, they committed the fraud, I didn't. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you, Patrick Patterson. And don't feel bad about not knowing the technology. Even those of us who are familiar sometimes can't navigate it as they change it. Rich Cottle, you are next. Rich, I know you're unmuted. Rich, you can speak now. Well, I don't know if they're, Rich, we don't want to cut you off. Are you there? You're on the screen and you're not muted. Oh, there, we started to see Rich Cottle. We'll wait 2 minutes. There you go. You're on. If you would like to go ahead. Rich, you can speak. I can't hear him. We can't hear you, even though you're not muted. Is your speaker working? Don't figure out what's going on with Rich's speaker. He's not muted on our end. Rich, we can't. Rich Cottle, we can't hear you. You're not muted on our end.
His Bluetooth might be on.
Oh, we hear you now.
Oh, no, that's the person saying.
Oh,
That's JD Langston saying. If your
sorry.
Bluetooth is on, it might not.
Check your audio settings. Right next to the mute button, there's a little arrow.
I think he's trying to look at his settings. One of the participants said it could be your Bluetooth if you're using Bluetooth. Rich, if you aren't able to, can you put something in chat? Or you could try to hang up and read it, get into the, okay. You're gonna put something in chat for us? Or he's gonna try to hang up. He was the last person on the stack, the last person who asked to speak. And we promised people, though we said that we would end at 8:30, we had a feeling from the numbers of people interested, we wouldn't end till 9 o'clock. So I'm gonna see if Rich can get, Rich, are you able to do it now? Oh, patience. Rich, you wanna try again? You're muted this time. There you go. But we can't hear you. I don't think we'll be able to hear you. Better luck the next meeting. Okay, sorry about that, Rich Cottle. And I apologize to anybody whose names I mispronounced or any other mistake that we might have made tonight. I want to end tonight's town hall by just saying a few words. One is, thank you to all of you who were so incredibly patient with each other, okay? In terms of, JD Langston, you want to say something quick?
I just want to say something real quick to anyone who hasn't applied for benefits. What the system is doing for people, and I forgot to mention this earlier, everyone's end date, Maryland Department of Labor put everyone's end date at the end of September 4th because of the law that was passed by Joe Biden. And now they're trying to scramble and mix everybody else's things. So when they reapply for benefits, they either don't get benefits at all or all these other things happen when really it's an error in the beacon. And also with their CAPTCHAs you have to put in to get into the queue, you can't even see if if it's a 1 or if it's an I or if it's a 0 or if it's a lowercase o. And I feel like that also is against the American Disabilities Act because you can't even, I mean, even for like the elderly, I mean, you can't even look at it. And I feel bad because there's people who don't even understand what they're looking at and trying to type in to get some type of, connection. So I just wanted to put that out there for people, just to apply by phone. Just keep calling and try to get a hold of an agent by phone.
Thank you.
Also,
And if people,
could I say something real quick before we leave? There's also, like I said, people who applied and they reapplied, and then like their unemployment is completely gone. Their balance and everything is completely gone. So for those who have reapplied, they're taken off PUA. It's very frustrating. It's just really frustrating. It's really frustrating. And thank you to all the representatives who came out today, who got on the Zoom. Thank you for, just being here to listen to everybody's concerns. That's all I really have to say.
thank you, everybody. But if I start letting everybody else say 2 or 3 more words, there's going to be a lot of people who have 40 more words from everybody. So let me just end with this. Some of what's coming up now are organizational things for our organizing committee. We will be sending information out to you about a meeting platform where we'll be talking about the next demonstrations that we're planning, answering some of the questions that a couple of you raised, figuring out strategies. It won't be this type of formal session. So you will get an invite to that. What I urge you to do is become a member of the Unemployed Workers Union, but you don't have to be. We're not going to own this thing all by ourselves. There's lots of other groups that are in this fight, have been in this fight. What we want to do is make sure that we are not alone, that we are fighting together as a unit, and they will not leave one person behind. If one person gets their case settled, we're not going to be satisfied until all the cases are settled and until there's justice for everybody. And so we'll be talking about different strategies, different plans, different ways that people can fit in. I talked earlier about, hey, some people want to do civil disobedience. Some people are interested in the lawsuit, which is extremely important, and doing that kind of work. So if you have experience, our attorney has said earlier, none of our folks make a dime. Attorney Summerfield actually has another job. He cannot actually charge. His labor has been free for this cause because he believes in it. And so we need to do as much as we can if you have that skill to help him. And also, there's just tons and tons of different work that people can do, whether you have art skills or whatever your skills are, or just phone banking, or getting out the old school way and getting out with flyers and that kind of thing. So once again, keep in mind, if you want to sign on to the class action suit, I'm looking at the attorney here for the right attorney words. If you would like to stay in touch and be involved in the demonstration, because it matters when they see bodies out there. They'll look at this and they'll go like, this is really, they're getting their act together. But when they see us out there in front of their doors, it means even something more. So there's a lot to be done in the next couple of weeks. We believe we can win. I know that sounds a little insane, but we definitely believe that when you fight, you win. What we definitely know, and no one in this phone can argue, if you do not fight, you do not win. And then after July 3rd, once we've won, frankly, we have to still be fighting for the unemployed, because unfortunately, it doesn't look like the crisis of the pandemic or the crisis of the economic system is going away anytime soon. The evictions are, foreclosures and all that order is being lifted on June the 30th. It's going to make it worse. And so we got a lot of work ahead of us. So as I said, look in the chat. If you want to text 410-218-4835, please do. And please be patient with us. We're people just like you. None of us are paid. We don't have staff. And just very quickly, for transparency, I'll tell you 2 words, and then we'll end. The union was formed out of the People's Power Assembly, who took on a lot of the protests around Black Lives Matter in the summertime in Baltimore City. And out of that, our members were calling and complaining. And we held a couple press conferences. And out of that, a number of us have union experience, are either retired or presently working for unions. And that's where the idea was launched. So we are newly formed. We are not, some kind of mainstream union. There are no dues. Anybody can join. Anybody can be a part of it. And we do not have any salaries. So we're doing this all in volunteer time. So it's a little different when we say we're a union than say a lot of the standard unions that are used to. But we are filing grievances and they are legal. And we are doing everything that we can to be representing our entire grouping. And we want you to join in on things. And thank you. And if you register for this, you will get information on the next step. I think that's it. I want to thank you all for being a part of this webinar. And we're going to stop Hogan in his footsteps.